To the Flowing Health. Welcome everyone to the Flowing Health podcast. I'm excited today to have Liz Doyle, who's a positive change coach. And I think these days we could all do with some positive change. So welcome to the show, Liz.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Yeah, and we met recently on a online, like a lot of people have done, networking group.
Yeah.
And I love what I learned about Liz's work, and a lot of your work is about self-worth, self-love, about positive change, and we can talk more in detail about what you've noticed, in current times and how you help people on their road to feeling, loving themselves and feeling their own self-worth. So maybe a little bit about yourself, Liz. What brought you to the coaching? Maybe a defining moment or something that happened in your life that brought you to the coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, really, I think I've been on this journey myself is the best way of describing it. So I was in that place of, I'd come through quite a lot. So I come through kind of a toxic marriage and a very toxic divorce that went on and on. I came through my own cancer journey. So I kind of had that behind me. We moved out of London with my daughters, kind of starting a new life. My daughter's living with CF, cystic fibrosis. So I kind of been going through quite a lot of stuff is the best way of describing it. And what I found was that on paper, my life looked so much better and it was all kind of coming together and it was all good. But the reality was really different. And it was something quite small that really kind of just pushed me over the edge. And when I look back, I was probably suffering from some sort of post-traumatic stress and things like that. It wasn't burnout. It was just literally like as if I kind of came to a realization that there were patterns happening in my life, even though they may be with different people or whatever was going on. And it was as if there was a hole inside me and I was always looking for somebody else to fill it. And so I just kind of talked to a close friend about it, and she suggested I should listen to Louise Hay. And I'd heard of Louise many years before because I've been in interpersonal development for quite a long time. So I'm quite into understanding positive psychology, and also I'm quite spiritual. So I'd heard of her, but I'd never really gone in and found out more. So that particular day, I started listening to her on YouTube because there's lots of videos, and it was as if she was talking to me directly is the best way of explaining it. Beyond the grave. It was quite extraordinary when I look back, and I was kind of devouring it. It was like, wow, this is just me. This is exactly how I'm feeling. And everything she was saying about how we need to love ourselves first. And I'm saying, yes, I do. But I had no idea how I was going to do that. And that was the thing. So I bought her book, You Can Heal Your Life, which is the mega famous 50 million copies sold around. And then I went on a workshop. So it all kind of led me to training to be licensed to share her work. And that's what I did in that same year, actually. It was all kind of, everything happened together in that same year. And it was like a coming home in a way, because the journey, I went on, I was able to take my clients on. And so it kind of has changed as well. How I've worked, but it's just something I get something out of it every single time I share the work as well. So it's also rather selfish, but it's amazing to see. The hope is the first thing that women find when they come to me, but then seeing their realizations, their aha moments, and then seeing that they can actually change their lives really themselves.
Great. And I heard that the self-help book section didn't exist before Louise Hay.
No, she said that literally it was like the smallest little section in the bookshop. Yeah. And now, wow, it has its own, bookshelf, doesn't it? Whole section.
Well, in many of them, it's the biggest. Even if I go to Victoria Station, to W.H. Smith, there's a massive section of self-help right in the middle.
Yes, exactly. And it's interesting because a lot of people haven't heard of Louise Hay, even if they're life coaches or, whatever. And she really was the pioneer in all of this. She was saying all this about self-worth, loving ourselves first, before anybody really kind of mainstream really took it on board. So, you know, she kind of took a lot of stick as well along the way, because it was kind of laughed at for a long time as well by a lot of people.
Yeah. So with self-worth, I mean, these days, I think we all know how the media makes us feel, you know, small and, you know, needy, and, you know, putting fear into us through, you know, whatever, the you know, TV and newspapers. What you know, what would you say, you know, that one of the main issues these days with the self-worth is that you notice with people? Is it this a societal thing? Is it, you know, the way they've been brought up, a bit of both?
I'd say it's a bit of both, because everything has an effect on us, and it all these beliefs we absorb at a very young age, and then we carry them with us, and we a lot of the time we don't even remember where they first started, and that's a lot of the time where what I'm doing with my clients is peeling back those layers of the onion and just seeing what's going on, and seeing when we first started to believe that. And we don't have to know, we just can kind of ask that question, and it starts to kind of slowly just become into our awareness. And so, yeah, definitely it's the way, and it's not making anyone else bad. So also, I always think that I always say this, we're not trying to blame anyone else, because our parents were doing the best they could, even if there was brutality, because with their own knowledge, their awareness and the understanding they had at that time. So a lot of it is, and they could be very loving parents as well, but they brought their own fears, their own limiting beliefs, their own feelings of lack. And sometimes just out of love, they're trying to protect us. They're putting a lot of fear into us, and a lot of not enoughness. You know, if you could do a little bit better, you know, it could be results from school or university, or it could be just being good, you know, the good girl. And so I mainly work with women, and I do find that even now there's still that kind of separateness about how girls are brought up and boys are brought up, or, you know, whatever sex they decide to associate with. I think we're still kind of seen in society, we need to, you know, you're either too sexy or too this or too that. You're always too something or not enough of something. And so we're kind of bombarded with those messages really from a very early age. And it's still happening, unfortunately.
Yeah. So do you, with your, you know, coaching, do you find that a lot of it is about kind of undoing some of these old, you know, memories or habits?
Yeah. We're what we'd like, you know, there are some memories that are very, very painful for some people, and they take longer, obviously. But we can start with the different exercises that I do with the clients. We can start to come back and say, actually question the beliefs, or even sometimes they're not even aware that they believe what they believe, because once they start becoming, and you know, awareness really does happen on the other side. You know, that magic, starts on the other side of awareness, because once you start becoming aware, then you kind of think, actually, this is how I'm talking every day. How am I talking every day to people? How am I reacting to people? You know, the effect is really profound, and also, of course, that ripple effect on everybody around us. And we start to attract in more loving relationships, more just kind of good things happening. I know it sounds simplistic, but it really does. Once we start to kind of really become aware of where those limiting beliefs, so we can choose to let them go. And, you know, some take longer than others to let go of, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think you've made a good point. You know, the awareness of it, that you know, we're not really our thoughts and our feelings, but, you know, they're just coming up, and when we're really truly aware and present, then we can deal with them more easily. So I'm sure this is very, very essential work, you know, for many people, many of us these days. So I love that. And I know that recently you've also started working with a new program, 21 days of letting go of the weight. So tell us a little bit about because I know during the pandemic, when I went to my hairdresser, he said that everybody was sort of 30% bigger when they came to have their hair cut. And he said, what happened to you? Now, thank goodness I don't watch much TV, and I wasn't 30% bigger. But when I heard that, I kind of slightly, you know, it was quite worrying, you know, that actually maybe that was the comfort that people needed. So
yeah,
I think it sounds like what you're doing now is really helping people. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the pandemic has made everything heightened. You know, it's heightened all of these issues, but those things were always there, and that's the thing that we're getting down to the kind of root of, if you like. And I have no problem if we need to have a little bit of comfort eating at times in our lives. There is nothing wrong with that. So a lot of the time is, so what I found with my clients, and literally, I mean, it's over 90. I haven't actually gone in and done a real stats, but it just had this feeling and this awareness that so many of them had well, you know, a toxic, you know, really, really damaging relationship with their bodies, with food, sometimes alcohol, it could be fizzy drinks, it could be anything, you know, cravings, emotional eating, binge eating. But the main thing is that they really, at times, hated their bodies or part of their bodies. And it was just something, you know, and I've been there. So that's where I was coming with this. So, you know, about 10 or so years ago, I kind of came to my own, you know, findings, and I really, you know, I kind of discovered my own way of letting go of the weight. So it kind of worked alongside, obviously, with Louise Hay's philosophies, were so aligned to mine, because until we can start loving ourselves, we can't see properly, completely, we can't really see those changes. And so that's when I put this course together, bringing what my own knowledge, experience, but also her philosophies, and how we can actually let go of the weight, because it's always more than just the weight. You know, we could be hiding because it's, you know, we don't want to be seen. We could be, you know, that food or drink literally becomes a friend. And recently, just with a recent client, it was really interesting. It was her one way of rebelling against her mother, who has passed a few years ago now. But because her mother was very controlling with what she ate when she was a child and always made her feel guilty, every time she goes for sugar now, it's like this kind of still rebellious streak. So it's so much more complex than just losing weight. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's,
and I like
you know,
the expression of the letting go, because I think you're right. When we talk about losing weight, people often say it's really hard to lose weight, but actually letting go, also mentally, it's like feeling good about ourselves. And this is it's 21 days. And tell us a little bit.
It's an online course, so it's all recorded. It's 21 videos of awareness exercises, 21 separate meditations as well. There is also a fortnightly, sometimes weekly, live group call within I have a Facebook group just for that, just for this course. But that's also recorded, because some of the women don't want to be on Facebook. So I really respect that, because it's not for everyone. So the recording of that, or if they just want to join the Zoom call, they can do that. And but the recording goes into the membership as well. So the idea is, even though it's called 21 days to letting go of the weight, it doesn't mean you have to take 20, you know, you take as long as you need. So I always say, you know, like, but still commit. So even if it's 42 days or whatever it might be, you need to commit then to do it when you've said to yourself, because that, again, it's not yet another way we self-sabotage, that we say, yes, I'm going to do this. And then we put blocks in the way, we put things in the way, we're too busy, we're, you know, whatever. And then we don't see it through, because deep down, we don't really feel that we're worthy of it. We don't deserve it.
Yeah, so I think most people drop out of courses after something like the first third of the course, don't they?
And I have too.
Well, we all have. But
yes, exactly.
When we know it, it's almost like 21 days isn't that long. It's not 90 days. It's not, you know, 6 months. So I think I like the way people can then do this in their own time. And I'm sure many people, when they see the benefits, would be doing it daily anyway. So
yeah, I'd hope so, because they're also not that, you know, the videos aren't long. You know, it's no more, I'd say no more than half an hour on any one day. In fact, most days will be shorter than that. So the idea is then you're able to process the work, and it's literally, like you say, you know, it's letting go of the idea of losing, because the subconscious is often busy going off to find it again, and that's why. That might explain sometimes why yo-yo dieting exists, why we lose the weight. But sometimes we never feel that we've lost enough weight, or even I was there, even when I'd lost weight, I always knew I was going to be putting it back on again. I never enjoyed just being in that moment. And so having that freedom
Yeah.
is just, yeah, it's remarkable, really,
Yeah,
because
and the mind and the body is so so
absolutely,
closely connected that we
yes,
sometimes detach it. I mean, I know with Qigong practice, often we have to get people embodied because they tend to live up in the
in the,
mind, in their
yes,
ideas. So
yes.
that sounds like a great course. We'll put the link below so people can join it. And at any time, I imagine they can just buy the course and do it
Yes, absolutely,
in their
absolutely.
own
And
time.
yeah, I mean, as I said, I've only got at the moment, because it's a very new course. I only launched it in February, but and some women are just using the course, and the others have come and joined the Facebook group, and that's all a welcome. It'll work however you want to do it. Basically,
Mhm.
that's how it works.
Great. So
Yeah.
we'll put all the links in for you, Liz. And any final, maybe some daily practices that
Yeah.
might do or become aware of. I know, often people talk about, journaling and morning routines, affirmations. Is there anything that you do yourself that you could
Oh,
share?
I do.
I'm sure
Yeah, I
you do
do, and I
lots.
do encourage. A morning routine is really wonderful, but actually having little routines through the day as well.
Mhm.
Um, and Louise was very famous. I mean, Oprah called her the Queen of Affirmations.
Mhm.
So affirmations is a big part. I have them just on my phone, so they'll pop up as a reminder, so I don't have to kind of go off and read them or write them. Um, but you need to find the routine that works for you. So I always say, go gently, go really slowly. So I start the day really with a meditation. I always start my day with a meditation because it'll just calm the mind, because it's amazing. As soon as we wake up, how we can quickly just start thinking about all those things that we've got to do, or the fear thoughts start kicking in. So just to quieten the mind, just to start in the day, and
Mhm.
just welcome in some good stuff. And I will say a couple of affirmations before I even leave the bed. And also mirror work. So Louise Hay was very, very famous for her mirror work. So just standing in front of the mirror, which a lot of people find very difficult.
Yeah.
So this is something that needs to be built, but just literally saying to yourself and really connecting with your own eyes in your mirror as much as possible, and just saying, I love you, I really, really love you.
Mm.
And and try to stay looking in the mirror, and just try that every day, for say for a month, and just see what happens within that month. um, and the last one, I mean, there's so many, but the one that forgiveness is such a huge part of the work as well. And it really is one of the most freeing parts of the work. So and again, if it's really difficult to forgive people, just be open to the idea. So be willing to forgive. And so again, you can do forgiveness work in the mirror, or just say, as you say, journal about it. But yeah, I find forgiveness is yeah, an amazing way to let go. And again, it's connected to letting go of everything that's holding us back from what we want in our life, really.
Yeah, I think such a big one, forgiveness. And
It is.
even though both my parents have passed away, I've done a lot of work on forgiveness since they
Yes,
passed, and
absolutely.
it's so liberating, and
Yeah.
also it feels like it's healing, even though they're not here.
Mm,
It's healing the sort of family DNA coming through,
yes.
and then hopefully my daughter, or those coming after me, will be sort of clearer in themselves, and also forgiving myself.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Because it's so, I mean, I think that's the one that we have the most difficulty with. I don't know how, have you found that?
yeah. I have. It's easy, not easy, easier to forgive others. And then when I
Yes.
heard forgiving myself, I thought, what for? And then I was told,
Oh,
write a list of things. It was so long. I was shocked.
yeah. And they keep coming. That's the thing. Yeah. And we're never done as well. That's the other thing with forgiveness. We kind of think, well, I've done this work, I've
Yeah,
done it.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
never done, because there's always another level to go to, but it gets easier and easier the more we do it. But actually, if you kind of think of something you think you've forgotten somebody for, and you think of what they've done, because remember, we're forgiving the person as well,
Yeah,
not the thing they've done. So
yeah,
there's some people that have done terrible, terrible
yeah,
things.
yeah.
We're not forgiving, we're not
And we're not
ignoring what they've
forgetting. We're
done.
not forgetting it, but we're
Exactly.
forgiving it. Yeah,
We're forgiving the person.
Yeah.
And that's what's really, really important. But even when you go back to it, sometimes you think, oh, there's still something, because it's in our nervous system, and that's what happens from a young age. We think we understand it intellectually, but we're still feeling it in our bodies, and that's why we manifest illnesses and things like that, because we bury it in our bodies. And so by opening to forgiveness, we can literally let go.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
trapped. You're right. It's trapped. I mean, I noticed that with the Qigong, the body
Yes.
holds so much. And I think the beauty of, energy work and the work you're doing, I'm sure, is this idea of letting go of it, releasing it, rather than, making a big story out of it or trying
Yes.
to work it out. It's like, just time to let it go. And I think
Exactly.
that's where we're at. And I think the mirror exercise is really powerful. And I found that really difficult to look at myself. I think when I started, I didn't recognize myself, actually. I just thought,
Yeah.
wow, who is this? Because it's so rare that I look. But I started doing it, some time ago, and it is really powerful. So I would recommend, people test it out and
Yes.
and talk to yourself. And we start with ourselves, and I think that's the beauty of
Yes.
your work. You're bringing people
Yeah.
back to their true nature, their awareness.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, even Djokovic last night, I don't know if you saw in the match with Sinner,
Yeah.
he took a cheeky toilet break after being down 2 sets down,
Yeah.
and took himself. He said, I did some talking to myself in the mirror.
Oh, wow.
And I think, it's power. It's really powerful. And then, of course, he goes and wins the next 3 sets.
Yeah, he
So,
did. Yeah.
yeah. So, it is very powerful. And the thing is there's tears may come, we'll keep looking away. There's loads of things that will come up for us, but sticking with it really is amazing.
So positive change through letting go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Liz. I really appreciate you sharing everything, and everybody connect with Liz on the links below. Have a look at the 21 days letting go of the weight, and look forward to talking to you again soon, Liz. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's been really great. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.